And without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to the Honorable Majority Leader of the 9th District, my dear friend Jason Rojas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's so good to see you on the dais, now in your official role as Speaker of the House. As I have for the last 10 years, I look forward to serving with you and leading with you over the next 2 years as we tackle the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Representative Candelora, we have had the opportunity to spend quite a bit of quality time together over our time in the legislature. Up until this year, we were both long-time members of the Finance, Revenue, and Bonding Committee. And obviously, for a couple years, you chaired the screening committee for the Republican caucus. I chaired the screening for the Democratic caucus. And screening is something that is foreign to most people inside the building, let alone outside of it. But it is also critical and essential to the success of the legislative process. As chairs, you and I and our staff would meet. You would have kind of the priorities that you had, and we would have the priorities that we'd have, and we'd engage in the give and take that is central to the legislative process. You would agree with many of the things we wanted to do, and I would agree with many of the things that you wanted to do. And we did it with respect and collegiality that is too often missing from our political process. It would surprise very few people to know or hear that you and I sit on opposite sides of the political spectrum. You are consistently conservative in your viewpoints and in your policy prescriptions. I am reliably liberal with a streak for fiscal moderation. In a world of left and right, of red and blue, you and I have a relationship that is built on working experience with each other, a relationship built on trust and respect. I hope that our work can reduce the larger political polarization we see in our politics, a polarization that weakens our democracy and divides the state and our communities. I am confident that you, me, and the Speaker will be the bridge for getting the work done for our chamber and for the state of Connecticut. Congratulations on your election as Minority Leader. Mr. Speaker, 12 years ago, I began my journey as a member of the Connecticut House of Representatives, a privilege that still today is not lost on me. I grew up wanting to be the mayor of East Hartford. That was my lifelong goal. Serving in the Connecticut General Assembly was not in my plans, but I received a call from former State Representative Melody Curry in the spring of 2008, who thought I would be a great candidate for what is now an open seat. I was nervous about running. Quite frankly, I was intimidated. Up to that point, all I'd really known was about local government. I was on the Board of Ed, I was on the Town Council, and I questioned whether I had what it took to be an effective state legislator. Despite that uncertainty, I plunged ahead with a campaign, and a lot of people worked on my behalf to win a primary and then to win a general election. And when I got here, I immediately embraced the breadth of policy that we are exposed to as legislators. We deal with issues that most people don't have to think about or don't want to think about. Heck, the first law that I actually got passed in this place had to do with pig farm regulations. Pig farms, right? I do have a pig farm in my district. That is not something I ever thought I would work on when I was in the legislature. But here we are. Mr. Speaker, you're the fourth speaker that I will work with. Speakers Donovan, Speaker Sharkey, Speaker Arasimowicz rewarded me for my commitment and my work ethic. They appointed me vice chair and chair of the Finance Committee. They appointed me chair of the Planning and Development Committee. They appointed me chair of the Screening Committee. All of this experience has led me to this moment where I now get to stand here as the Majority Leader of the House of Representatives. And I simply would not have made it to this moment without the love, the support, and guidance of so many people who have touched my life in ways big and small. Let me express my sincerest appreciation to my colleagues in the House Democratic Caucus. You have put your trust in me and elected me your Majority Leader, and I pledge that I will work as hard as I always do on your behalf and on behalf of your constituents. To my colleagues at Trinity College, and to our president, Joanne Berger-Sweeney, who supports me day in and day out so I can manage my responsibilities there and also here at the Capitol. To my childhood best friends, Cappy, Cheeto, Juan, Tommy, and to our beloved Ricardo Flores, who passed away in October. These guys have been my best friends for over 30 years, and I'm grateful for their friendship. One incredibly special person who is unable to be here today is my mom, Anna. Like so many loved ones, my mom has an underlying health condition that puts her at increased risk of illness. So while she's not here today, I know she's watching on CTN, and I know she's incredibly proud to see her son standing here as the majority leader. She's the matriarch of our family. She has been there to support me with everything I've ever wanted to do in life. She was the person who modeled for me what it means to sacrifice for others. Our family grew up in a modest 2-bedroom apartment, yet we opened up our home over the years to a number of people who were struggling at various stages in their life, who needed a place to lie their head at night while they were experiencing their difficulties. My mom always offered to support to anybody who needed it. It was my mom who taught me the importance of respect. Respect for self, respect for others, for my elders, for my teachers, for my community. These were lessons that have helped me become the person that I am today, the person who seeks out reconciliation rather than conflict, the person who seeks out understanding, consensus, and peace. Mom, gracias por todo tu apoyo y amor. My sister Denise is here. She would hate for me to make her stand up, but I'm going to. Right. She is a guardian angel to so many. She has been a primary caregiver for my mom. This is who my sister is. She's a caretaker, a nurturer, the conscience of our family. I've long described her as a salt of the earth, good human being. She often played the role of second mom when our parents were working while we were growing up. She is a friend to many who is there when you need support during their most difficult times in life. To her husband Eddie, her boys Chris, Isaiah, and EJ, I love you and I thank you for everything you've ever done for me. My brother Charlie is here today. He's joined by his wife Rose and one of his sons Jaden. My brother is the classic big brother, there for me whenever I needed anything. He was there for a lot of the annoying things. When I needed to borrow clothes, I never asked, I just took it. When I needed to borrow money, it was just a loan that I never paid back. He was also there for the baby brother who always needed really good things, the really important things when you're young, which is a ride to everywhere, right? A ride to my friend's house, a ride to football practice. But in all seriousness, Charlie was always mature beyond his age. From the moment he could work, he did, and he always worked so hard, always 100%, always on time, never missed a day of work, regardless of how unpleasant a job might be. And I was thinking about that job where you had to stack tires for a whole summer in the back of a truck, yet you went there and stacked tires for a whole summer. He showed that same professionalism during his over 20-year career with the Connecticut Department of Corrections. He is like my dad, my role model for work ethic. So thank you, Chuck, Rose, Tony, Charlie Jr., and Jaden for being there for me as well. And to my dad, Dad, please stand up. This is Carlos Aponte Rojas. Like many Puerto Rican Americans who came to Connecticut and to the region, he came here in search of opportunity, a place where he could find work and provide for himself and eventually for his family. He began working picking tobacco in the Connecticut River Valley. He eventually settled in Hartford and spent 40 years at the Champlin Company and almost as many years as a proud 32BJ janitor. He worked both jobs up until 2 years ago, both jobs, without complaint of being tired, so that I could stand here today as the majority leader of the Connecticut House of Representatives. My dad is a quiet guy. He's a humble person, perhaps the greatest quality he has imparted on me. He is that dad that is there at the moments you need him most. He was there for my school events, to drive me all over the state to midget football games, and for much of the past 14 years, he's always willingly gave up control of his TV remote so that his granddaughters could watch cartoons and their favorite shows at his house. Dad, thank you for helping me become the man that I am today. I will continue to work as hard as you did to benefit not only my family, but my community and my state. The next three people to introduce are no strangers to this chamber. Their lives have been deeply associated with this building. They have a deep appreciation for the work that we do, for the impact that we have on people's lives. I'm proud to be their dad. They make me a better man, a better person, and they're really, really good at keeping me humble. I may be the majority leader here. I may get mail that says the honorable on it. But at home, I'm just dad, and they have no issues with reminding me of that. So my oldest daughter, Addison. Addie, stand up, honey. So grown up for her age. She's a voracious reader, much like her Aunt Denise. One of the most caring people I've ever observed. The interest and compassion she has for babies and for young children really is special. She's a natural teacher, super organized like her mom, and an amazing student. She's a pretty good combination of her parents. To my middle child, Stella. In so many ways, she is my mini-me. She is sharp, she is witty, she is fiercely independent, she's incredibly social, loves people, loves to talk, maybe a little too much. She cares deeply about her community and the world. She's a bit of a ham, and like her older sister, loves to read and is an excellent student. I believe she will end up in this chamber someday. And to Celia, her mom's mini-me, Celia, stand up. She too is an avid reader, but the most hands-on of our children, see what's in her hair. She's continually tinkering, cutting things and building things. She's a prankster, she's a jokester, but incredibly caring and loving. Like her sister, is a good-hearted person who's committed to her education and making the world a better place. And before I introduce my last guest, I wanted to introduce my mother-in-law, Kate, who's here. Where's Kate? Stand up, Kate. What can I say about the person who gave me her blessing to marry her daughter? And she met me when I was 18, so she had every reason to be skeptical about me marrying her daughter. Kate's my favorite Republican. We debate and argue, as one would expect, being a liberal Democrat and living with a conservative Republican mom-in-law. But we always end our debates with a smile and an I love you. She did an amazing job raising 4 girls, which is no small feat. And my life is what it is because you did such an amazing job raising your daughter, Sarah. So thank you, Kate, and to Dave and Sarah's younger sisters, Martha, Doretta, and Anastasia. Thank you for being there for all these years. And lastly, Sarah, if one were to ask me what I'm most proud of, I would say my marriage. I'm proud to be Sarah's husband, and I'm amazed that she has kept me around this long. Sarah and I met and started dating in high school, so she has been there for me through all the ups and downs of life. She has been by my side for more than half of my life at this point. She's my biggest supporter, my most trusted advisor. She truly is my best friend. Like all political spouses, she sacrifices so much so that I can do this work. She's an amazing mom. She provides our girls amazing moral and spiritual guidance. She loves them with a patience that only moms can understand. She's also an educator, providing support to students at Rocky Hill High School as a guidance counselor. She serves students who have significant support needs, and she works day in and day out to help them reach their goals. Sarah, thank you for being who you are, a mother to our children and a partner to me in life. So, Mr. Speaker, the last year has shown us that as a state government, we do have the capacity to rise up to the challenges that the world presents us. The past year has also shown that there are clear areas where we need to improve on our ability to meet the needs of the people we represent. There will be no shortage of other ideas to consider and debate. It is essential that we prioritize and focus on the issues most critical to preserving public health, to ensuring access to equitable education, and that we protect our most vulnerable neighbors. The pandemic continues to impact our ability to work. The reality is that this will require us to engage in more active listening, that we exercise patience with each other, and that we be more intentional with engaging the public to ensure that their voices remain a part of this process. As I think about my job ahead, I will end my remarks with a quote from Martin Luther King. He said, "A genuine leader is not a searcher of consensus, but a molder of consensus." And I hope to be able to do that for this chamber. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.